Hello. How y'all doing? Brothers and sisters. We are back today to start on part one of the weekend. I call it the weekend because of that song Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. Y'all know the name. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay. So now it's two parts of it's two ways to explain triangulation, okay? One way of explaining triangulation, both of them involve, well, I'm gonna break it down, okay? But one of the triangulations involves it's gonna involve like the mate or the side piece or a second person that comes into the relationship. This usually gonna happen around the end or whatever, like this. Okay, it's still a tactic that they're using anyway. Okay, so that's one type of manipulation, which I'm gonna get into. One form of triangulation. Okay, now your second form of triangulation is what we're gonna start off with today. Is what I'm gonna start off talking about. Okay. So first we're gonna do we're gonna get the definition of it triangulation from this is what I looked up on Google. Okay, so triangulation is a manipulation tactic where one person will not communicate directly with to relay communication to the second. Also a form of splitting in which one person manipulates a relationship between two parties by controlling communication between them. A manipulative device to engineer rivalry between two people known as divide and conquer. Now, the technical word for this is triangulation, okay? At least referring to this part of triangulation that we're going into today. Okay, the second part, you could actually call this could be kind of like, if you want to use the word backbiting or something like that, okay? But sometimes backbiting and people that talk behind your back, they just, some people just do that. It's not an actual thing that they doing with a goal in mind. Like this is going to be the result of me saying this or doing this behind somebody's back. Okay, so that's the difference. Okay, so when the spirits use triangulation, they using it for exactly to accomplish exactly what I just stated. Okay, so I'm gonna just go over it one more time real quick. Triangulation, a manipulation tactic where one person will not communicate directly with another person, or they will relay communication through a second person. Also a form of splitting in which one person manipulates the relationship between two parties by controlling communication between them. So you have one person who is going to control the communication between two other people, okay? And this is how they control both sides, okay? Because all of the direct communication is coming through this one person. That's like it's almost like a middleman thing, okay? Let's say I'm downstairs, okay, and my mom want me upstairs or something, right? So my little brother, he come to the middle of the stairs and he like, mom want you. Okay, now he's controlling the communication because I never spoke to her. She never spoke to me. He is controlling both sides. So let's say he come to the stairs, he like, mom want you. Now he's now controlling her side. Then I'm gonna say something like, okay, tell her here I come. Now he's gonna take it back. But me and this person is never communicating, if you can understand what I'm saying, okay? So this is what it means by one person relaying communication from two different sides, okay? And this is to split these two sides up, okay? But the reason that we studying it, I want you to look at it from a spiritual aspect, because this is another tactic that these spirits use, okay? Doing relationships and just normally. Okay, so what's a sign of a triangulation? Okay, what's a good sign of triangulation? A good sign of triangulation is when a relationship breaks down out of nowhere. Okay, When the relationship just breaks down out of nowhere, you don't know what happened. You don't know what you said. You don't know what you did. You don't know why they don't like you no more. Okay, usually triangulation is involved in there. Okay, so let's use an example. Okay, here's a good example. Me and Steve. Okay, I'm just using a random name. Me and Steve is cool at work. We friends at work. Okay. Every time I come to work, me and Steve, we hang out together, we talk, we have a good time. We friends. So it's common for when I go to work for me and Steve to interact, for us to say hi, for us to talk about whatever we talk about or whatever, okay? So let's say one day I come to work and I see Steve, right? Now remember, me and Steve was just cool yesterday. Now this time when I see Steve, Steve is not, I'm going to acknowledge Steve, like, head nod him or be like, what up, Steve? Now, Steve keep walking. Like, Steve ain't even heard me. Now, I know he just heard me, okay? Now, the first thing you're going to think is, maybe he didn't hear me. You know what I'm saying? Because it's no other explanation at this point, because you know that you guys don't have a problem. You know that y'all have a pretty solid relationship with each other, okay? Sorry about that. So you're gonna say, okay, all right, maybe he didn't hear me. So later on, you approach Steve again. Steve walking down the hall. What up, Steve? This your man's. You see what I'm saying? This your cousin. This is your best friend. Okay. So you know that you guys have a decent speaking relationship. Okay. So this time, when you speak for a second time, Steve ain't gonna respond again. Now you gotta remember. I want you to think about this, okay? You have to remember. You and Steve was just cool yesterday or the last time you was at work. So it's really no real explanation to why Steve is now ignoring you. Now, most of us, because of our own pride in our head, we gonna, after that second time, after you speak for the second time, you know what you're gonna say. You're gonna be like, you know what? Oh, F Steve. You know what I'm saying? I ain't about to kiss Steve ASS. You know what I'm saying? That's how we thinking now. Cause now we like, oh, you just being funny. See, we don't understand. We just take the shift and just think people they moves just switch like that. Okay. So now you ain't about to go say nothing to Steve, because you feel like you done already tried to talk to him. You done already put yourself out there and spoke to him. So now if you were to go after Steve more to really try to figure out what's wrong, you feel like you kissing his butt. Okay, this is expected of you from these spirits. This is what kind of makes their plan work. Okay, so now the question is, what happened since the last time you seen Steve? What's the big difference? What's going on? Like, why he ain't talking to me? Like, why he looking at me all crazy? Okay, what happened was Cindy happened. Now, Cindy is just a random name. Okay, but Cindy is gonna represent our spirit in this case. Okay, when you went home yesterday, Cindy go up to Steve, okay? Cindy go up to Steve. Steve Cindy like, hey, Cal was just outside talking crazy about you, bro. You know what I'm saying? He said you always coming to work dirty and your kids ugly and whatever they can say that they know is going to offend you, okay? So in between this time, the spirit done got in this person's ear. He said this about you. He said that about you. Okay. Now let me show you how they keep themselves out of this and how triangulation works. Now remember, in the definition of triangulation, I told you they have to control both sides of the communication. So now Cindy done put this bug in Steve's ear and said you done said all this crazy stuff about Steve. Okay, now this is how they seal it. At the end of the conversation, she's going to say, but don't say nothing to Cal, or don't say nothing to CJ, because I don't want to be in the middle of it. See how they controlling the conversation? I know it seem it don't seem that deep, but it really is. But that's how they end it out. So I'm going to tell you what I'm telling you is this is what Calvin was saying about you. He talking about you. He talking down on you. Then I'm going to tell you, don't tell him that I told you because I don't want to be in the middle of it. So now I just cut off the communication. So either you're going to believe what I told you he said about you or you're not going to believe it. Okay? Now at this point, if we walking around the job and Steve is not speaking to me and Steve is not acknowledging me, clearly they bought into what the Spirit said, okay? So now Steve is upset, right? He mad. I mean, he should be mad. You done called his kids ugly. You know? You don't just call people kids ugly. Okay, so what you got to understand about these demons, these spirits, and once again, we just gonna use the name Cindy for now, okay? All of these people being controlled by the Jezebel spirit. That's a high ranking spirit. We're not gonna get into it. What you have to understand about these people that you're dealing with they are pathological liars. A pathological liar is somebody that lies like you breathe, like how I go lie. That's another lie. I'm lying again. You see where I'm going with this? I know. Okay. But this is what they do. It's natural. It's natural. So it's not like they don't get twisted up in their words. It's not hard for them to come up with the lie because they've been doing it their whole life. They are pathological liars. Now I'm going to give you an example. I'm not going to use a name because, it's just not right for me to use a name. But I got a boy, all right? I got a friend that I grew up with, okay? One day I'm chilling with this friend, okay? And my brother is there, one of my other brothers, okay? So this one particular brother who has this spirit and, these spirits in him who is a pathological liar. Now, we got to be like 14, 15 years old. He sit right down in front of us, with a straight face. Now, he turned to my other brother. I don't know what we was talking about. But he said something like, he turned to my other brother. He like, hey, bro, you remember that time me and you, we was at the mall? It's a local mall in Detroit called Eastland, okay? You remember this time we was at the mall and we found that big black suitcase just sitting in the middle of the mall? Listen, because I know this sound crazy. I'm telling you, this is what he said. He said we found a big suitcase sitting in the middle of the mall, just sitting there, just everybody else walking past it, I guess. He said they opened up the suitcase, it's $1 million in there. I don't even want to laugh. Now that I'm retelling the story, it's funnier. He said it was $1 million in the suitcase, okay? He said that he went and bought a Jeep on like 28s or something like that, and my brother went and bought this. At this point, ain't none of us got a bag of chips, a hot Cheeto, a Chico stick, none of that. I'm just keeping it real with you. We was young. We had to be like 15 and 16. We running around chasing after blunts and stuff like that. So I think we would have noticed if one of us came up with $1 million or a big truck on 28s and all of this, okay? Now, he actually sat there and told this story with a straight face, okay? Now, not only did he tell the story, he looked at my brother and got the, like, tapping him on the chest, like, ain't that right? Ain't that right, bro? Bro, ain't that right? My brother just like, come on. Like, who would come up with something like that? That's what these spirits do. They are pathological liars. It's just like breathing to them. So you really can never trust these people. Okay, now this spirit that we dealing with is not a lazy spirit. Not this Jezebel. It's a high-ranking spirit, okay? It's not lazy. So it's constantly working in the background. When I say the background, it just means you don't know, okay? But still able to lay down next to you at night. See, some of y'all with these right now. So when we did the video about projection, about how the spirits, they talk about you to everybody, they talk about you to their family, they talk about you to their friends, and all of this stuff. Constantly. To anybody that's gonna listen. And they do, but they can still lay next to you at night and tell you that they love you and they miss you and all of this stuff. They demons. I'm gonna just keep it real with you. Constantly. constantly talking about you. So, like I say, they constantly talking about you to whoever gonna listen. It could be their co-workers, it could be family, it could be friends. Now you have to say to yourself, why? Why? Like, why? What is their point of going behind my back talking about me like this? And the thing you got to realize is they start this in the beginning of the relationship. They start this around week 1, week 2. They start talking about you. So the question is why? Now the reason they do it is because if you ever find out the spirit behind this person, meaning if stuff start coming out to the surface, you are going to want to tell people your side of the story. You're going to want to say, this person is messed up. This person lied to me about this. This person did this to me. So you're going to want to vent. Here go the thing. You too late. Because the spirit done already told everybody you crazy. Everybody. They done already told them you crazy. You looking through their phone, you beating on them, you done kicked them downstairs, you done gave her about 3-4 STDs, just all lies, okay? Because they have to paint a picture of you to everybody else around them. Okay, this is once again, this is that I'm so holy little thing that they try to do, where they try to remain like they just the perfect people in the situation. So they go around and they start to create backstories to their family, to your family, to anybody that can listen, because they know that sooner or later they gonna get caught. They know that sooner or later their wickedness and their evilness is gonna come out. So they want to cover themselves. So they can't just throw you under the bus, okay? Because if they just throw you under the bus, that's gonna expose their agenda. If you just walk up to somebody and start randomly downing somebody, anybody with common sense is gonna be like, okay, why they always talking about this person? Like, why, what's so bad about this person? Okay, so the smart thing is they can't just throw you under the bus. So they started off like this as the victim. I just don't know why I love him so much. Like, I just don't know. Like, I'm just so tired of them treating me like that. And I'm such a good person. And you can see their little halo coming up when they trying to tell you their little story. Okay. They use all of this. And they seal the information the same way they sealed it when Cindy was talking to CJ. So all of these people that they complaining, they going behind your back, complaining about you about, they gonna tell these people the same thing. Look, and don't forget, don't say nothing because I don't want nobody in our business. Sound crazy because they sitting here telling you they business right now. But then turn around and say that they don't want nobody in their business. What they doing is they controlling the communication, the lines of communication between you and that person. Okay, now you looking at the boyfriend or the girlfriend different. Because if somebody in my family came to me and said this dude be beating on me and stuff like that, I'm gonna have a problem with you. I'm not gonna like you. Probably off jump because of everything that I heard about you. Now this is secondhand. Now, I can't come clear it up with you because they done made me promise them not to say nothing. So I can't just walk up to you like, bro, you know what? Man, I heard you be touching my cuz. Like, I got a problem with that. Like, what's going on, bro? You can't do that. Because you want to be loyal to them because you feel like they trusting you with a secret. They trusting you with a lie. And they want you to uphold it in your spirit. Okay? Because you don't have no way to weigh it out and actually prove that what they saying is actually factual. Okay? So now you got a problem with the boyfriend or the girlfriend. Then they go to the opposite side. So then they gonna go to their girlfriend or their boyfriend. And then they gonna lie on you to them. Such and such tried to hit on me the other day. This is how they control relationships. Okay? Such and such tried to hit on me the other day. And he said that you broke and you don't appreciate me and all of that stuff. Okay? This is how they break up relationships. I want you to see this because they all do it. They do the same thing. It's simple. Okay? You just got to catch on. Okay? Then let me put the bow on it again. They put the bow on by saying this. They gonna say, but babe, don't say nothing. Just don't F with that person no more. Now this could have been your boy. This your ride or die. This your homie. This somebody that you thought that you knew. Okay. Now she gonna plant it in his ear. She gonna plant it in your ear. And then she gonna stop y'all from ever coming to the middle. Because that would expose the lie. This is how they work. They gotta work behind closed doors. If you was able to just walk up to somebody and say, such and such told me this, or you would put them in the middle of it, and then they would have to justify it. But like I said, they cowards. Yeah, that's what they is. They cowards, and they like to work behind the scenes. They don't ever want to be in the front, but they want to control things anyway. It's kind of like they puppet masters. I'm gonna make you feel this way about this person. I'm gonna make this person feel this way about you. Okay. Now, triangulation is common in families. Okay. A lot of people don't know this. Okay, but when I say it's common in families, I mean it is very, very common in families. You have one child that may be treated different than another child. Okay, this is a form of triangulation. And remember my definition. It is to divide, to split, to cause a separation of two people. Okay, so this could be siblings too. This could be brother and sister too. So how they do the triangulation when it comes to the family thing is they treat one child different than another child. For example, you got one child that's upstairs, right? You got one child that's downstairs, right? So the father is downstairs. The father calls the child that is upstairs to come downstairs and get him the remote. Now, I know what you're saying. Okay, well, he just asked for the remote. The catch was you got one child that's already downstairs. Now, you could have just had this child give you the remote because they already in proximity. But you're going to go out of your way to cause mental or emotional stress on the other child. Okay, now sooner or later, the child that's being targeted is going to start noticing that you treating his sister or you treating their brother differently than them, and it's going to start to cause resentment between those siblings. That's why some of y'all can't get along with each other right now in your family, because it was a demon running the family. So the demon at the top of the family, which would be the mother, yeah, I said it, which would be the mother. She's been picking sides and treating this one better than this one and all of this. And y'all done grew up and y'all in y'all 20s and can't stand each other. Okay? This, like I said, now this treatment is going to cause resentment from the child being tortured. This is done on purpose. It's demonic. Right? One more example. Let's say you got 5 sisters, right? You got 5 sisters. 2 of them demons. Yeah, I said it. 2 of them demons. One sister goes to another sister and says she heard the other couple sisters talking about her. Let me seal it again. Let me put the bow on top. Hey, sis, I love you. I don't know why we acting like that. Like, we all supposed to be family. Like, but don't go back and tell them, sis, because I don't want to be in the middle of that. I just, I'm telling you. I'm telling you how they seal it up. That's how they seal it up. Okay. Okay, so what they gonna say is, don't go back and tell our other sister, because they gonna know that I told you. Now you gonna separate yourself from them. Come on now. I'm just telling you how we think. You know it and I know it. You are going to start looking at them other sisters differently. You ain't went to them sisters. You ain't went and seen that they actually said or nothing. But now you got something against them. So now you don't mess with them 2 sisters. So now you got to divide. That's what the spirit coming to do. It want to divide up. So not only these 2 sisters hang together and these 2 sisters hang together. Okay, because of something that was said in the middle that never got addressed. Then the spirit goes to the other sisters and tell them the same thing. And nobody says anything about it, about the talks that they had. This is triangulation. That's triangulation, okay? That's what they do. That's what they do. You feel me? They have to manipulate both sides of the fence. Okay. Now, like I said, this is part 1 of triangulation. I'm going to be doing the next part, hopefully in the next couple days. Okay. So let's figure out. Let's get the solution to how to counteract these demons when they trying to use triangulation in your family or on your job or anything like that. If you're in a relationship with them, it's too late. If you've been there about a year or 2 or 3 years, it's too late. Your name has already been drugged all the way through the mud with their family members, their cousins, everybody at work. None of them really like you because of everything that they've been saying about you. Okay, but I'm telling you, they're gonna lay right next down. They're gonna lay next to you tonight and kiss you. These are spirits. These are spirits. These are spirits. They not people. They operating in this suit. All of us had this. Okay? But these are spirits. They do not have the capacity to feel emotions and sorrow and heartbreak and none of that. They don't feel the stuff you feel. And you gotta understand that, or you're not gonna be able to understand how they able to do this. So Jesus gave us the answer to dealing with this, side of triangulation. Okay. And the answer is in the book of Matthew. Okay. And here it is. It's clear. When somebody offends you, man up and go talk to them face to face. See, this is what the demon is not expecting you to do. They're not expecting you to go talk to that person face to face. Okay, this will completely cut off the tactic that they was using to separate y'all. Okay, what's the next step? Jesus says this is in the book of Matthew also. The next step, Jesus say, okay, if you go talk to somebody face to face and they still not willing to hear you, and most of the time they're not going to want to have a conversation with you. They are not going to just tell you why they upset, because like I said, they already feel like they want to be loyal to the person that had their back and told them. So that it's going to be hard to get out what exactly is going on. Okay. So Jesus says, okay, if you go to him one-on-one and you can't figure out what the issue is between you and that person, you go get somebody else. Go get a witness. If you got a problem with one of your sisters and you got 4 sisters, now your sister don't want to talk to you by herself, go get another one of your sisters. And then y'all come back and try it again with 2 of y'all there. Maybe she might feel more comfortable to actually sitting down and discussing the issue. That's step 2. Okay? This is Jesus' way of telling us how to cut these spirits off from this little triangulation tactic. This part 1 of it, okay? Because like I said, it's going to be 2 sides to triangulation. This is just one side of it. This is the surface side. And like I said, this is important because you can ask them, and like I said, they still won't tell you because they loyal to the spirit of the person that already told them this. Okay, so I'm going to read one more scripture from Matthew, okay? Because I know this is hard for some of us to understand. But I really need you to understand this, okay? In the book of Matthew, Jesus says, he says, who is my mother? This is a question. Who is my mother and father? Who is my sister? Who is my brother? But those who do the will of the Father. No exceptions. No exceptions. When you in this body, the body that we fighting to be in, the body of Christ, or anything like that, everybody got a spirit in them. Okay, I don't care what their last name is. I don't care if y'all got the same last name. I don't care if y'all the same height. I don't care if both of y'all eyes turn green when the spring hit. You don't know these people. You can't trust them because it's demons lurking inside of them. Okay? Ain't nobody just gonna walk up on you and tell you, I'm here to destroy you. I hate you. I came here from hell for you. Ain't nobody gonna tell you that. They're gonna crack a smile. They're gonna play their best role. Okay, so no exceptions. You got to start being more careful about the people that you let in your life, because you don't know them. You do not know them. They have spirits inside of them. Some of these people have spirits of anger. You see how many of our sisters is getting killed by these dudes who they thought they knew. That you done moved in your house after 3 months and he done killed everything in the house. I'm talking about just everything. You done lost your life because you was moving too fast. You wasn't seeking. I don't want to go too far. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this part of triangulation, okay? But like I said, you don't know nobody, okay? You do not know people. You don't know the person next to you. We have to pray and ask the Lord to reveal your enemies to you. And one common theme in scripture is that the enemy is always the closest person. And I know y'all done heard this a lot, but Cain did kill Abel. And you have to think how close Cain was to Abel. That was his brother. That's who the devil is using right now. He using whoever is the closest to you, because they have they have access to the most information. And the stuff that they didn't know, you told them already. You tell them everything you're going through. You tell them what's going on with your man. You tell them what's going on in your relationship. You tell them how your kids doing in school. You tell them what you eating tonight. I mean, well, you tell Facebook the same stuff, I guess. But these people in particular, they count on it. They need you to open up and give information, but you don't do that to people you don't trust. You don't just walk up to a bus stop and see a random person and just sit down and get to telling them all about your childhood and I was raped when I was 16, and you don't do that. So Satan can't use no random. He needs somebody close to you, like your mother or your sister or your brother. That's who Satan used to destroy you. Okay. So we're gonna wrap up part 1 of triangulation, okay? Part two is gonna be more involving on relationships and how these spirits bring in another person to get you jealous or to kind of gain more control over you. Okay? This video is kind of long. I didn't even know I had this much memory space. But we're going to continue in a couple days on part 2.